Hi, my name is Carrie Walker, and I'll be facilitating the Village's Health presentation on brain health. How can I reduce my risk of Alzheimer's disease? Please keep in mind that this presentation is intended for educational purposes only and is not intended as a substitute for advice from your healthcare professional. By the end of the presentation, I'm hoping that you'll understand that certain changes in memory are age-related and normal. I hope that you'll be able to identify the 6 pillars of brain health and learn how you can use those to reduce your risk of threats to your brain that might lead to a diagnosis of cognitive impairment. I also hope that you'll learn what you can do personally in your own life to lower your risk of brain problems and as well as create goals for a healthy brain that are practical and doable moving forward. How well we age depends on lifestyle, environment, and genetics. Lifestyle refers to the decisions that we make each day regarding what we eat, how active we are, who we spend time with, if we spend time with people, as well as how active are we keeping our brains after retirement. The environment refers to everything around us, including friends, family, as well as the physical environment or geography. In terms of genes, research is increasingly showing that lifestyle factors largely influence whether certain genes for chronic disease are expressed in our life, which is great news. As our body ages, our brain ages also. As we age, our brain shrinks, slows down in processing speed, and is less adaptable to change. You may find increasing problems with words, forgetting why you came into a room, for example, but as long as you can retrace your steps, most of these changes are probably normal. You should still be able to learn new things, create new memories, and improve vocabulary and language skills. If you do notice that you have some memory loss, please consult your healthcare provider immediately. There are many things that can trigger memory loss that are not related to cognitive impairment. These include poor nutrition. It's possible to have a vitamin deficiency, specifically a B12 deficiency, and not be aware of it. As our bodies age, and especially as we take different medications, it's possible that we're not absorbing nutrients the same way as when we were younger. We may have a thyroid deficiency that's causing memory loss. Side effects for certain medications may include memory loss, confusion, or dizziness. Especially if you're taking more than one medication, the chance that they are affecting each other goes up and may include memory loss. Depression can cause us to make choices in our life that are not healthy for us. And how we act externally may mimic that of cognitive impairment. When I was the director of education at the Alzheimer's Association in California, our helpline received a call from a family that was concerned about their mother. They hadn't seen her for some time and had recently come to visit. They had noticed symptoms such as food that was spoiling, bills were unpaid, and she didn't seem to complete even simple tasks that were normally routine for her. When they reached out to us, they admitted that they did not have a diagnosis. And while we were in the process of walking through with them what that would entail, this woman's grandson returned from Afghanistan, where he had been in the war. And he went to live with his grandmother for a while. And as soon as he began living with her, all of her symptoms of cognitive impairment vanished, seeming to suggest that all these symptoms were reflective of depression. Sleep is extremely important, and not paying enough attention or allowing ourselves to get distracted could also mimic signs of memory loss. But again, all these things are typically things that can be dealt with. So what can we do to protect brain health? All of these 6 items on the slide are inclusive in our lifestyle and within our realm of change and ability to change. In the next few slides, we'll be drilling down on each of them individually more in depth. First, we'll take a look at diet and nutrition. When it comes to nutrition, Only half the battle is trying to eliminate unhealthy choices onto our plate. The other half is making sure that what is on our plate is nutrient dense and provides our body with what it needs for every metabolic process. In order to make sure that you're getting what you need, a general rule of thumb is to make sure that half of your plate is filled with fruits and non-starchy vegetables. Non-starchy vegetables, typically the brightly colored vegetables, corn, peas, and potatoes are in the starch category. If you're going to consume some of those, you might want to make sure that they're included more in your portion of whole grains and not making up the complete half of your plate that's supposed to be devoted to the leafy greens portion. One tip is to think of your fruits as the dessert portion of your meal. Pack a quarter of your plate with lean proteins, and the other quarter should be devoted to grains, pastas, and healthy alternatives for fiber. By switching out sugary soft drinks and sweetened tea beverages for water, you'll not only make sure that you give your body what it needs in terms of water, but you'll also be making sure that you stay hydrated, as dehydration can show up as signs of memory loss and confusion. One way to make sure that you're getting everything that you need in terms of nutrition is to follow the Mediterranean diet. It includes a daily consumption of vegetables, fruit, whole grains, and healthy fats. Selecting from a wide variety of fruits and vegetables, making sure that you're eating the color of the rainbow. The brightly colored fruits and vegetables have nutrients called phytochemicals, which are valuable for all different processes in the body. Make sure that you eat moderate portions of any dairy or meat products, as they can be loaded with fat. When it comes to your diet, make sure to include antioxidants. This slide shows some of the foods with the highest content of antioxidant qualities. Antioxidants are important because they neutralize the effect of free radicals in our body. Free radicals are produced as a normal output of metabolic processes, meaning we're all going to have them floating in our body just because as a result of regular life, especially exercise. Free radicals can also be introduced through certain foods, but left unchecked, these free radicals can damage cells, causing illness and aging. The antioxidants, when consumed, will seek out these free radicals in our body and neutralize them so that they don't damage our cell membranes. In addition to figuring out what is healthy for us to eat, we need to keep an eye on portion. Too much of anything is not good. Shown here on the slide are some easy ways to figure that out, short of having carrying around a measuring cup. Next, let's take a look at physical activity. How much physical activity should we get? The recommendation is 150 minutes per week, which breaks down to a little bit over 22 minutes a day. Sadly enough, only a quarter of Americans hit this recommendation on a daily basis. Physically active people are less likely to develop cognitive decline, all-cause dementia, vascular dementia, and Alzheimer's disease when compared with inactive people. Research is continuing to support this. When we exercise moderately, our brain produces a chemical called brain-derived neurotrophic factor. This chemical serves to protect the hippocampus portion of our brain, which is responsible for short-term memory. When we exercise, our body also uses up extra glucose from our blood, which keeps our weight down. Exercise also works to strengthen our heart and vascular system, which reduces our risk of cardiovascular disease and other heart-related chronic disease such as high blood pressure and diabetes. What's good for the heart is good for the brain. Anything that you can do to manage these conditions of diabetes, depression, and stroke, heart disease, will help the heart, but it also will help the brain because the heart is responsible for pumping blood and oxygen to the brain. Physical activity will also strengthen your body and reduce your risk of falls. Falls in older adults are the leading cause of head damage. Physical activity has also been shown to produce something called neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity is the generation of new nervous tissue in the brain. Previously, it was thought that once we were born, we had a set amount of brain cells, and if we did something to damage them, that was it. Now research shows that we can actually produce new brain cells through exercise. Before you begin a physical activity program, if you haven't been active regularly or have come off a serious illness or surgery, consult your healthcare professional for guidelines. Cognitive stimulation is the other pillar of brain health that, in addition to physical activity, also stimulates neuroplasticity. Some examples are reading books, playing games, joining a choir, learning something new like digital photography, taking a cooking class. There's a wide range of things we can do on this list that can stimulate our brains. When we don't use a section of our brain, it begins not to function. So the brain truly follows a use it or lose it philosophy similar to our muscles. So learning a new skill or a new activity will actually stimulate different parts of our brains that we may not have been using. Sleep is also another important pillar of brain health. Previously, it was thought that sleep simply rested our brains. Now we know that there's metabolic processes that occur while we're asleep that do not happen any other time. We now know that while we sleep, new pathways are created and maintained in the brain responsible for our ability to learn. This affects our ability to concentrate and respond quickly. The brain also removes toxins that we take in during the day. Memory consolidation also is in process, moving short-term memories that we've taken on during our day into longer-term storage so that they can be reaccessed. Social engagement is another pillar of brain health. Research shows that social engagement is an important predictor of well-being throughout life. People who are involved in meaningful activities throughout their life report that they're feeling happier and healthier. While this pillar of brain health is not understood as being such a direct link as physical and cognitive exercise, it is still shown to reduce our risk of receiving a dementia diagnosis. These are some ideas for social engagement. It's important that we have someone to reach out and talk to if we're under stress. Social engagement can provide that outlet. Managing medical conditions is extremely important. Looking at these things on a list, you might not immediately think that they have a direct correlation with brain health, but as I alluded to in an earlier slide, they have direct relation to heart health, and how we take care of our heart directly impacts our brain. Our vascular structure, if it is impeded, either through high cholesterol or diabetes damaging our vessels, could lead to a stroke, which would lead to vascular dementia. The other threat to brain health, or the other pillar, is stress. When we're under chronic stress, our bodies are exposed to cortisol for extended period of time. Cortisol has been shown to break through the blood-brain barrier, and also to damage cells and create inflammation in our body. So make sure that you have ways that you can actively manage stress. Sometimes we can't control whether or not an abnormal amount of stress pops up in our life, especially if we're caring for somebody else. But we can control how we manage it and put different practices in place to prevent long-term damage from stress. Cognitive reserve is a concept that refers to a buildup of healthy brain cells. When we are making healthy choices in each of the 6 different areas of pillars of brain health, we build up a healthy reserve. And studies have shown that if you have this healthy reserve, similar to kind of like a bank account, a high bank account or a savings account, that even if you receive a diagnosis of some type of cognitive impairment down the line in your life, you will be able to withstand changes to your brain for a longer period of time. In the end, making small changes has a big impact. So what I'd like you to do is think over this presentation, consider choices that you're currently making in terms of your food and diet, your activity level, your cognitive activity level or brain health, brain exercise, how socially active you are, as well as your sleep and how you're managing your stress. Take a look at those 6 areas and see if there's anything that you can do to improve the quality. Think of one thing you can do that you're going to begin looking into and changing for next week. When you're setting a goal, it should be specific. Saying that you will exercise more is not a good example. Instead, choose something like, I will walk for 15 minutes 3 times per week for the next 2 weeks. It's important to recognize where you are at currently in terms of that goal, and then just up it incrementally. Some of you may look at this slide and say, 15 minutes, I'm already jogging for an hour. Well, clearly then this would not be a good example. So perhaps in addition to jogging, maybe you might take a look at one of the other 6 pillars and say, I really am not doing anything to actively engage my brain. Perhaps I'm going to try Sudoku, or I'm going to do the crossword puzzle 3 days a week after breakfast before I walk the dog. Goals should be measurable. There must be a way for us to tell if we're meeting our goal. Again, if it's general, such as I will exercise more, there's no way to really track if you're meeting that goal or not. Therefore, it's really never attainable. Small measurable goals set incrementally will give us a feeling of accomplishment and excitement that we're meeting our goals, and we can then set the bar higher as we go. They should be realistic based on where you're at. Do not compare yourself to others. And there should be a time element to them. Usually something that can be accomplished within a 2-week, a goal that can be achieved within a 2-week time is something that's helpful to get us started. Make sure that you write down what you're going to do and when you're going to do it. It's helpful to post this on your refrigerator and keep track if you're meeting your goal. If you're finding that it's difficult and obstacles keep getting in your way, perhaps beyond your control, set a new goal. Maybe instead of working on physical activity this time, if you are finding yourself with no time to exercise, set a goal to increase your cognitive exercise during this time so that you keep moving forward one step at a time. And remember to celebrate progress, turning impossible into possible. Thank you for joining the Village's Health presentation on brain health. Research is increasingly showing that how we take care of our brain can largely influence whether we get a diagnosis of Alzheimer's or another form of cognitive impairment. Furthermore, research also shows that even if we do receive a diagnosis of Alzheimer's disease, if we begin to implement some of these new strategies that we haven't been doing already, they can serve to slow down the onset of symptoms even after a diagnosis. I hope you found this helpful. If you have any further questions, don't hesitate to reach out to the Villages Health Learning Center. Thank you.